Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So, I was recently diving into Anand Vemula's piece, Tech Horizon, and I've got to say, one specific insight in there completely changed how I look at our daily workflows. If you follow tech, you already know AI is literally everywhere right now. But we are moving way beyond basic chatbots. Vemula points out this fundamental shift, the exact moment where artificial intelligence stops just talking to us and actually starts working for us. It's a real game changer, so let's explore this together.
Seriously, think about your typical workday for a second. Think about the sheer number of hours you spend acting as basically a human copy-paste machine. You know, dragging data from a spreadsheet into an email, or manually moving attachments around like some sort of digital pack mule. It's exhausting, right? It totally drains your energy and pulls you away from the creative, high-level thinking you were actually hired to do. So here is the big question to kick things off today. What happens when AI gets its own set of hands? What happens when it isn't just a brain sitting in a jar, but a fully capable assistant moving seamlessly through your workspace?
All right, so here's our roadmap for today. 1. The AI automation revolution. 2. Meet the AI brains. 3. The automation muscle. 4. Transforming your workflows. And finally, 5. The new tech horizon.
Let's jump into Section 1, the AI automation revolution, beyond data entry.
To really grasp what Vemula is mapping out here, we need to move past basic tool definitions and focus entirely on synergy. Generative AI automation is all about pairing the cognitive center, the brain, with the physical executing force, the muscle. When you combine these two, you aren't just scheduling a recurring email anymore. You are building a full-blown system that executes complex, multi-step reasoning autonomously. Vemula argues that this synergy fundamentally redefines the whole concept of a workforce. It turns us from solitary knowledge workers into managers of our own hyper-efficient digital teams. Moving right along to Section 2, meet the AI brains, the cognitive layer. So we've got ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini acting as the cognitive center of your automated system. Now, since we already know what large language models are, the real insight here is how they function within a much larger pipeline. Instead of just casually chatting with them, we're now using them as dynamic reasoning engines. When a messy, super complicated email arrives, these tools can actually read between the lines, process all that unstructured data, and make critical decisions about what action needs to be taken next. They are absolutely the analytical engines driving the workflow.
Okay, Section 3. The automation muscle. From thinking to doing.
If the AI is the brain, then API connection platforms like Zapier and Make, they're the nervous system. You can kind of think of them as these digital mailroom clerks that literally never sleep and never get carpal tunnel. They just move data from point A to point B, invisibly and instantly. And then you have structural platforms like Notion, which act as the centralized skeleton where all this automated data finds a permanent home. Now, these tools don't reason on their own, but they are completely unmatched at executing flawless, continuous sequences.
Looking at the current tech landscape, honestly, it is so easy to get completely overwhelmed by the sheer alphabet soup of software names out there. But everything falls neatly into place when you recognize this division of labor. You've got your cognitive layer on top, which is responsible for the thinking, drafting, and analyzing. And then you have your action layer on the bottom, responsible for flawlessly executing and organizing that thought process. Understanding the specific split is absolutely crucial. It's the key to building systems that actually scale your impact, rather than just creating more IT headaches for yourself. All right, Section 4, transforming your workflows, brain meets muscle. Let's actually walk through a tangible scenario to see this synergy in action. Imagine a really high-priority client emails you. Step 1, the muscle kicks in. Zapier instantly catches that incoming email. Step 2, it seamlessly hands the data over to the brain. ChatGPT analyzes the context, figures out exactly what the client is asking for, and drafts a custom, highly accurate reply. Step 3, the muscle takes over again. Make sends off the generated reply and meticulously logs the entire interaction into your Notion database. The real magic here, your inbox sorts itself, the client gets an instant response, your records are perfectly updated, and you literally haven't even touched your keyboard.
Guys, there is a profound, life-changing difference between isolated AI and integrated AI. Opening a language model in an isolated browser tab where you have to manually copy and paste text back and forth, well, it acts a lot like an encyclopedia that you have to keep getting up and walking over to consult. Integrated AI, however, acts like a brilliant assistant who sits right at your desk. It intercepts your mail, writes your drafts, and organizes your files while you sleep. It literally turns passive intelligence into proactive productivity.
And that brings us to Section 5, the new tech horizon, future of digital work.
If there is one primary takeaway from Anand Vemula's insights that I want you to remember from this explainer today, it is simply this: stop doing digital chores. The technology now exists to outsource the mundane completely. As Vemula points out, by making this shift and taking a little time upfront to build your system, you are no longer just an operator of software, you become a manager of automated systems. You elevate your role entirely. You reclaim your time, your focus, and honestly, your sanity.
Which brings us to the end of our journey today, but I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. Look really closely at your daily grind tomorrow morning. Notice the clicks, the copies, the pastes, the endless data sorting. With the cognitive brains and the executing muscles now fully available to you right at your fingertips, what part of your job are you going to automate first? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll see you next time.